Hey everybody, my name's Seth and welcome to my Chart Ruler series. The Chart Ruler is the planet that rules your first house. It's kind of just that simple. The difference between the Chart Ruler and the ruler of your second house, the ruler of your third house, the ruler of your fourth, is that the Chart Ruler is actually giving a strong direction to your life. What's going on with the planet that rules your first house is actually putting a lot of information into where and how you use your ascendant at all. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about having the sun as your chart ruler. This means you have a Leo ascendant. Hopefully you guys understood that first video. I made it pretty clear what exactly a chart ruler is and what it does. So I'm just going to jump right into that. To have the sun in Leo in your first house as your chart ruler, as your first house ruler, this is going to show that you actually have a very good sense of who you are and what you came here to do and what your focuses are and where you want to go and how can you feed your ego. You know what your ego wants, you know what your ego likes, you know how to identify yourself and what you identify with. Now, when it comes to what you want to identify with and how you decide to go about it, we're going to want to look at Mars and Aries. So in a typical chart, Aries is actually going to be sitting in your ninth house. So with Aries sitting in your ninth house, this means that you actually want to go about life to explore. You want to be able to go out and know people and make friends with people so you can understand their world and understand what's going on around them. And find someone who's from a different place who can constantly teach you something and entertain you with new facts and new figures and new experiences. So you can eventually actually leave them and find someone new. And at the end of a few years have a collection of really eclectic and strange and weird friends from all walks of life. So you can ultimately always decide where you want to go and how you want to go through there and continuously collect new information and new people. You want to go out and explore life. And really with this being Leo, you want to actually show where you come from and go to a different place and learn something from them, but also leave your mark there. You want to go place to place to place and go person to person to person and leave your mark on them so you can understand that you've learned something new and how they've helped you grow and helped you change, but now you've left your mark on them so that they will go the rest of their lives with you on the back of their mind, with you in their memory, so you know that your legacy will last forever. Now you're going to want to look at Mars in your chart. What sign is it placed in? Where is it placed? What house? And that will give you a little bit more definition on how you will actually go about that. And if you're going to be more the type of person that's going through life trying to really learn as much as you can, or are you going through life really trying to leave your mark on as many people and many places as you can, Mars will really help you figure out what's going on with that. Now with the sun as your chart ruler and in the second house, this means that you are a Virgo. This is going to show that you're actually a bit possession focused. You put a lot into acquiring possessions that you feel are necessary. Either necessary because you really want them or necessary because they really help you. But you're going to want the best of whatever it is that you feel is necessary for you to actually collect money for and spend money on. Possessions and money have a way of kind of coming in and out of your life. They might not be there for too long, or if they are there for long, it's because they're actually gaining value in time. You think a lot about how your money is being spent and how these possessions can help you later on. You're very, very monetarily focused, and you have a good eye and good ears and good eyes for anything that is a good source of income, or anything that can become a good source of income, or anything that is worth spending your money on. You're diligent about how to spend your money the correct way based on your own set of values. But you have good money instincts, even though your instincts might be a little influenced by the fact that you like things to be nice, and you're more than willing to spend a little bit more money or a lot more money on something that you feel is better than something with a little less money. That is a little less money. The idea of business being a big part of your life is actually seen here. You put a lot of emphasis on business, and you might actually end up becoming friends with influential people. Now, if you actually do that purposely, looking for influential people to build a network, or if you just end up running into them, both are seen here with this, with your sun being in the second house as your chart ruler. So either way, you're going to be around influential people if you focus on it or not. Now, if you look at Taurus in your chart, sitting in your 10th house, the idea of you being an influential person, becoming someone of status, and being surrounded by people of status is actually seen here. You're going to end up being that person. And the amount of effort that you put into your business, the amount of effort that you put into your money making talents and your money making skills and how you manage your money, the more effort you put into it, the more it'll actually pay off. You're one of those people that it's really like, as long as you roll up your sleeves and do the work, it will pay off. It is promised. Just do that work. You know what I mean? Roll up your sleeves, get your shit done, and get that shit done right, and it will pay off. It doesn't have to pay off immediately, but it is a guarantee that work equals success. As long as you work, you will become successful. And the idea of you being surrounded by influential people, it's going to become a part of what's going on with your midheaven because of your sun being your chart ruler sitting in your 2nd house. You're also going to look at Venus. Venus is going to tell you a little bit more about how you manage to achieve this success. Where is your focus when it comes to the work that you're going to have to do? Is it going to be a little bit more socially conscious with Venus being in an air sign? Is it going to be a little bit more people conscious and being surrounded by influential people? Or is it really going to have to do with you really rolling up your sleeves and doing manual work like Venus in an earth sign? And that work eventually paying off. That will really tell you what's really going on. Virgo, and your sun being in Virgo, is just supplying you with the tools necessary to do whichever needs to happen. Because Virgo is all about tools, necessary tools, and doing what needs to be done. All right, let's say you have the sun in your 3rd house in Libra. This is going to show that you are very communicative and that you're very communication focused. With this being your sun in an air sign, in an air house, especially the 3rd house, it's going to be a strong sense of self-expression through communication. So this might mean that you are a very good poet or painter. Finding means of communication actually outside of words can be seen here because Libra is a very artistic sort of energy, and the sun is looking for self-expression and the idea of self-identification through communication. So Libra is going to try to find an artistic way to meld those two. So poetry and music and the arts are actually seen here, and these are going to be natural talents for you. As well, and then looking at the fact that you are so actively inclined towards them, you're naturally going to find yourself in situations where you are meant to communicate in various ways, or you just find that it's an activity that you tend to put your energy in when you're not thinking about it even. Just finding yourself in communication-based environments, let that be work or entertainment or interest. This is going to show within your life. It's going to be a big part of your life. Now, what exact part of your life is this going to be in? You're going to want to look at Gemini. With Gemini being in the 11th house, this is showing that you're actually very much into communication for the sake of helping and then for the sake of enlightening people. You want to be able to reach a good amount of people and network through a good amount of people to get your message across. Not only are you interested and entertained by communication and expressing different means of communication, you're influenced by it. And you find it to be something that you take seriously and that you really want to spread throughout the world to send a message. You have something that you want to say. You have something that you want to express. And you want to develop what you have to say, develop your ideas and your ideals so you can express them to the world one day. So you can find the means to get your ideas, to get your message, to get yourself, who you identify as yourself, get that person out into the world so you can help and enlighten and inform others. This could mean that you are a very strong politician, that you are someone who's very strong in media and entertainment and marketing and advertising. Anything where you get to meld your artistic talent with your means of communication. Melding these things, finding some way to make your interest a part of your career so you can get an influence within the world and teach others. Be a leader in a social sense. That's what you're really looking for. And that's ultimately what you'll find. And then when you look at Mercury, it'll get even more definition on what directions are you inclined to go into, what directions are you should you be inclined to go into, based on what parts of your talents are most utilized. So that's a good thing to look up right there. Now with the sun in your fourth house, this is going to be the sun in Scorpio. This is showing need for strength. When you see the sun in Scorpio in the fourth house as the chart ruler, it's really showing that your soul needs strength. You're going to go through a lot of struggles within your personal life. So your sun is actually going to need to be here for you to be able to make it out alive, for you to be able to survive this and work through the struggle and find that strength that the sun provides, that power of knowing who you are and developing who you are actively. There's going to be a lot of struggle there. There's going to be a lot of struggle surrounding around the family itself. Either it's going to be the family that you grew up in, or the family that you try to create for yourself once you're an adult, or both. But there's going to be a struggle there, and your sun is there to help provide you with strength and remind you who you are in this world. You have a strong attachment to one of your parents or a parental figure in your life, and that parental figure really helped you gain the pillars of who you are, and to help you, they helped you define what parts of yourself you take the most pride in. Now you look at Cancer, which is in your 12th house, and you really see why that this figure put such an impression on you. Because you look at them and you idealize them, and you idealize what they represent in your life, and what it took for you to find your strength and to identify with yourself. And you see that it's subconscious. It's an emotional attachment that's very subconscious. And then you're also going to want to look at where the moon is. And the moon is going to tell you what type of comfort were they giving you? What type of what light was at the end of the tunnel when you were going through all these hardships? Or what light do you see at the end of the tunnel because of this person once these hardships do reach you? Depending on if this is going to be a problem that you had growing up, or a problem that you're going to have as you try to create a family of your own, or throughout both. Scorpio is the reason why it's darkness, why there are struggles, why there are demons that you have to face. And it's going to be within your home, because this is your fourth house we're talking about. Or it's going to surround your family, because this is the fourth house that we're talking about. Either the family that you grew up with, or the family that you're going to create for yourself later on in life. Your sun being here means that as you grow older, the more that you learn, the more that you understand, the more that you define yourself by what you are proud of in yourself, instead of defining yourself by what happened in the past, your life will get better and better and better. And by the time you're old, you're going to have the life that you want. But you're going to need to work towards it. And you're going to need to face demons and take care of what needs to be taken care of to get there. But once you do, it's going to be fucking golden. And once you do that work, once you look at your own psyche and look at the world around you and understand what the world is trying to teach you through pain because of this placement. With the sun in your 5th house in Sagittarius as your chart ruler, you're going to see that there is a very strong pride factor. This can be very good, meaning that you really know who you are and you really enjoy who you are, or this can be really bad, meaning that you enjoy who you are a bit too much and you think you know a lot more about yourself and the world than you actually do, meaning that there could be some strong arrogance. With this being Sagittarius, your sun being in Sagittarius, and Sagittarius ruling over your 5th house, this means that you take a lot of pleasure out of just being around people and getting out, and just like when it comes to entertainment, you want live entertainment. You want to be able to go and see it and touch it and experience with people around you, so you can meet other people and say that you've been there and that you've done that, not that you just watched it on TV. The idea of a luxury here, you want to experience luxury, not only just have it. Like having a really nice toilet, that's really cool. You have a really nice toilet and you like that about yourself, but you want to be able to say that you like used a really nice toilet in Africa, right outside this diamond mining place, and you found one right outside the place, and like there's a whole story attached, there's a whole thing attached to this. You want to be able to tell a story and entertain others with this news, not only bragging rights. If it was the sun in the fifth house and other signs, there could be just this thing about you wanting to be able to brag about what you have. But with this being Sagittarius in your fifth house, it's more or less you want to brag about what you've done. So you want to be able to make sure that you're out and about and seeing things and doing things and being active and having fun and enjoying your life actively, physically. And then incorporating other people in that and surrounding yourself by people that impress you, that inspire you, that instill pride in who they are. As long as you're proud of them and you're proud to say that they're your friend, you're going to want them around. You're going to want to collect these friends and have them around with you and move around in packs. But again, if it's arrogance that's driving you, then you're going to find that like these packs of people, you're surrounding yourself with assholes, or that these aren't really your friends, they're just people that you know that are impressive, that you've surrounded yourself with now for a means to an end. And it can turn very ugly in a very spiritual sense, like just very ugly, even though aesthetically there's no question. But it can turn into an ugly situation. Now you're going to want to look at what's going on with Leo, since he's on your first house cusp. You're going to see that you're very you-oriented. You're very about adventuring so you can understand more about the world, and you can start causing some influence and really understanding the influence of other people. You want to self-perfect, really. You want to make sure that the image that you create for yourself is the best image possible, the perfect image compared to who you are and what you want to show others and what you want to explore. And you want to be able to wear what you explored. If you've gone to a new place and you see that everybody has a certain hairstyle, you're going to get that hairstyle. When you get back home, it's going to be fresh and it's going to be new. And you're going to be able to tell people how you went there and had it done. So a lot of it's going to have to do with what's going on with you and how can you really project who you feel that you are into the outside world and start understanding and enjoying who you are by exploring the outside world. And the sun being here in the fifth house is telling you that it's all about the fun. It's all about being able to do it. That is what's driving you. Leo being in your first house and the sun being in your fifth is showing what's driving that Sagittarius energy. What's driving you to want to go out and be physical and enjoy your life and start really using your enjoyments as an expression of who you are. Where you go and who you see and what you're doing is actually a part of who you are, a very strong part of who you are. And you identify with that. You identify with what your activities are in life. And that's healthy for you and it's amazing and it's definitely going to be very entertaining for other people to watch that. And by the end of the day, to their surprise, because I can tell right now with this placement, to other people's surprise, you're going to have a lot of wisdom to come from this at the end of the day. It's just going to come from a place other people didn't expect for it to come from. But you know that you're storing a lot of wisdom that will eventually come out, even though you don't necessarily pride yourself on showing off your intellect, unless there are other things in your chart that are supporting that. With the sun in your sixth house in Capricorn as your chart ruler, this is going to be sort of amazing for you, but it's going to fucking suck for anyone that works for you. Like, really. Because the way that you organize, the way that you see life and make life work for you, the way that you turn everything around you into a tool for you to use efficiently and to really cause more efficiency everywhere you go with this placement, it's built for you. It's perfect for you. So other people need to either jump on the bandwagon or get out the fucking way, because they're not going to be able to do what you do the way that you do it. You're going to do very well in work situations where you are the one with the power. Until you achieve that power, things might be very annoying at work because they're not working the right way. If they're not listening to your suggestions, if they're not picking up on the very useful information and very useful approach to life that you have. This also might cause a bit of issues of, I guess, bordering arrogance, where it's not very easy for you to hear that the way that you're doing something, the way that you're doing things can be improved. You want to be able to be the one to make up that decision that what you're doing could be better. If somebody is coming to you and telling you that what you're doing could be better, you might not be very happy with that information, whether it's actually helpful or not. You want to be able to make that up. You don't want to hear other people telling you that they can do something better than you, or that they're doing something more efficiently than you. You will take on that information. You won't not listen to them, but you might not be the most appreciative of that situation. Now you're going to want to look at where Virgo is in your chart, and that's going to be in your second house. So you're seeing that your whole idea of efficiency and the whole idea of you being very particular about what you like and what you don't like, you being on top of your health and being on top of the health of the people around you, and how healthy a situation is in general in a more esoteric sense, and really the focus that you put on your work and being able to do things better and faster and more efficiently and more productively is all stemming from the fact that you want to make money. You are very money oriented. You're very work oriented. If you don't have something to work on, you might feel a little pointless. If you're not actively making money, no matter how much money you actually have, you might feel a little pointless. Because it's one thing to have a bunch of money. That's cool. Like, I like that, I guess. But what you really like is the fact that you can make it, that you've earned it, that you're actively earning it, and you're actively earning it more efficiently, and you're producing more by earning it. It's the idea of just being engaged in work and being able to do work that you love and you pride yourself on it. And then when you look at Mercury, you're going to see what exactly about that work you love so much. Mercury's in a fire sign. Do you like the fact that you can express yourself through this work? That you can express what's on your mind and what you want to get done through this work? If Mercury's in like something like a water sign, is it the fact that you are helping people, that you are producing something that gets into people's hearts and gets into their souls, and that you can actually help influence what's happening with them internally on an emotional level? What exactly are you going for? What is your interest? What's your point? Mercury will kind of answer that. But at the end of the day, it's about the money. And it's not about getting rich. It's about making money. And it could be getting rich in the sense that you have money, but it's not like rich or wealthy is not good enough. You just want to be able to accumulate and keep doing more. If the currency suddenly changed and it wasn't about money anymore, and if we went backwards and started exchanging goods again, or if we went forward and started exchanging love, like hopefully we will, you're going to start to become a master at that. The whole idea of what drives you to be so into work is the fact that you can accumulate the currency of the day, and that you can create comfort for yourself, physical comfort from what you do and what you focus on. Now, with the sun in your seventh house, this is going to be the sun in Aquarius. This shows that you are highly intelligent, and that a lot of your intelligence and a lot of your really crafty thinking gets put into relationships and acquaintances, and the fact that you put a lot of energy into being able to have a lot of acquaintances and to be able to have a lot of friendships and to be able to cultivate relationships that you feel like really help change you and really help you put your views out into the world. With your sun being here, it means that you're very good at cultivating relationships. With your sun being here in Aquarius means that you're excellent at acquiring relationships. Whether these relationships are healthy or not is another story, because your sun is opposite your ascendant. This means that you have a lot to learn about relationships. And not only is your sun opposite your ascendant, your sun is your chart ruler and opposing your ascendant. Your whole life surrounds what you have to learn about being in relationships and what it means to balance and compromise and harmonize with another person, and what it means to do that in a healthy way, and what that means to do that in a way that actually builds influence for you, and how to cultivate influential people that are healthy in influence for you. Libra is sitting in your third house, which means that a lot of the relationships that you cultivate have a lot to do with what they have to teach you. How interesting are they? How can they help you make up your mind and help you explore different ways of thinking, different ways of living, different ways of understanding what's going on around you? You love that, the exploration of what a relationship can do for someone's mentality, for someone's mental ability. What can you learn? Is there a cap to what you can do when you involve other people in your life and you involve other people in your ideas? You love the idea of incorporating friends and family and acquaintances into your work just so you can put their ideas into who you are and what's going on with you and the power that you want to cultivate for yourself. Now, the struggle with all of this being opposite your ascendant means that you have more to learn than you do to prove, and you feel you have a lot to prove. When you look at Venus, you're going to actually see where your natural inclination is. Where are you a little bit more inclined to be more influential and to want to look for more influence? And also, where are you more inclined to gain your technique for charming others and creating friends and gaining acquaintances? Where is that going to come from? What part of you actually gains that for yourself when it comes to how you communicate and gain these friends, gain these relationships, gain these acquaintances? Venus will answer that question. Now, with the sun in your 8th house, this is going to be the sun in Pisces. This means that you're actually going to be very eccentric. You're going to be the type of person or the type of Pisces where you take on what interests you. You feel you were born with a natural feeling of what you are responsible for in this world. You have an esoteric inclination. You may be a little bit more metaphysical and esoteric than the average person. And you pride yourself on that, and you love that about yourself, and you know exactly what this means for who you are in this world and what you need to do and what your responsibilities are. You want to perfect the spiritual side of yourself and exude it from everywhere around you, from your innermost parts to your outermost parts, what people see and what they hear of you. This is where you're going to really find a hippie Pisces, and it's strange coming from the 8th house, but this is where you're gonna find that hippie, someone who's walking around where they just exude that very esoteric, that very metaphysical energy, where you just know they are tapped into what's going on around them, what's going on underneath it all, in a very spiritual sense. This can be scary, like someone who's like into like gothic stuff, or it could be very lighthearted, like someone who is a little bit more of a hippie, someone who wears like hemp pants and like wears a ton of rings and has dreads or something. It's going to be that more eccentric sort of Pisces, where you're going to see them wearing their esoteric and their spiritual connection right here on their face. And that's because a lot of that energy from their sun, it's coming into their ascendant, and it's coming from the 8th house, and it's coming from the fact that they feel they have a responsibility to engage in their spiritual side and to perfect what about them is connected to the spiritual and connected to the esoteric. This also means that you're going to have to deal with a lot of loss. You're going to lose a lot of influential people, and you're going to be pushed to be on your own a lot. And it's only going to be for you to be on your own so you can take care of other people. You can no longer be the one that's taken care of any longer, unless you find a way to leech off of people, and it will be leeching. And others will find ways to leech off of you. So you're going to have to take a lot of precautions with who you surround yourself with this placement. When you look at Scorpio sitting in your 4th house, you kind of see that idea of leeching, because the 4th house is really going to show that people feel at home with you, and that you're going to be very adept at bringing a feeling of home to others, but your personal relationship with your home is a little distorted, and it's going to be a little broken. And the fact that you can create a sense of home with other people means that you're opening up a lot of vulnerability. Pisces is not good with boundaries, and a lot of energy being put into Pisces is coming from your 4th house, which means that the energy that you exude in the work that you know that you're here to do is going to leave you very, very vulnerable. And Scorpio is a self-protective energy, but it's not going to be very good at it with this sun placement here. Now, when you look at Pluto and where Pluto sits in the chart, you're going to really get a sense of what is really going on underneath you. What are your responsibilities? What is it that you are meant to expose and show the world? And where are you meant to gain your power and influence within the world? How are you going to help us? What truths are you here to exposed to us, and what chains are you here to break for us to be a little more free than we were before we met you, before we were influenced by you? And then looking at Mars as the co-ruler of Scorpio really shows what is driving you to actually take this on as a job, as something that drives your being in a sense. And really, how will you go about achieving this power that Pluto is trying to grant you through your sun being your chart ruler sitting in your 8th house? Pisces is going to take all of this on and take it very seriously and help you define yourself by these chains you're meant to break, by the change you're meant to bring, and by the exposure you're meant to show people. And it'll all be expressed through your 1st house, because the sun is your chart ruler, is your 1st house ruler, and Leo is taking on that responsibility. It will become something that is defined by who you are and defined by what you do. With the sun sitting in your 9th house in Aries as your chart ruler, you really see how you like to adventure and see new places and really physically become a part of what's going on around you. This isn't limited by physical exposure. Because this has a lot to do with how you are defining yourself and the pride that you're taking in yourself, and this being Aries, it really just means the fact that you are exposing yourself to any type of knowledge. It can be physical, the idea of you actually seeing these places that you just learned about, or you actually going to learn something by touching it and manipulating it and feeling it and understanding on a very physical level what's going on. That's most likely going to be a strong part of it, but it doesn't have to be. The real emphasis here is that you are going to take your education seriously the older and more mature that you get. And you're going to want to really explore what your mind is capable of and what type of achievements you can really set as goals and achieve within life. With your sun being in Aries, you take pride in the fact that you are capable and that you are fast moving and that you can make things happen quickly and move on and repeat the process and make things happen again. With this being in your 9th house, it becomes more of a big picture sort of scenario. You want to be able to extend and perfect what you are capable of and extend your capabilities to farther and farther reaches. Now you're going to want to look at Jupiter and Sagittarius to understand what directions you like really going in when it comes to your sun and what your sun wants to achieve. You have Sagittarius sitting in your 5th house. So this is going to have a lot to do with entertainment, and it's going to have a lot to do with the process of falling in love, the honeymoon phase of a relationship. You might end up really being one of those people that dates someone, and as soon as you kind of get past the honeymoon phase, the relationship is going to be over, because it's going to be time for you to move on and explore this again and learn more about yourself and learn more about relationships in general and what love means. And you take those sort of things seriously, but you're not going to take them seriously for long, because you have to move on. You have to explore more and expose yourself to more. You might not really start settling down and settling in and really using what you learn in a relationship instead of just wanting to acquire more knowledge until you get a little older. Where Jupiter is placed is really going to tell you a little bit more about your specialty. What is it that you really want to learn more about? What is it that you want to explore and turn into something fun? What is it that you enjoy about the entertainment that's around you? And why do you get so fanatical about it? And why do you get so engaged in it? And why do you get so focused on it until you're done with it and move on to the next thing? What is going to be that next thing? Jupiter is going to give you a strong theme for how you're utilizing your sun placement and what's going on within your pride and what you are specifically taking pride in within yourself and within your intellect. Now, with your sun sitting on the midheaven in Taurus as your chart ruler, you're going to see that your career ultimately comes first. With a chart like this, set up of the average chart, set up with a Leo ascendant, when your sun is getting placed anywhere in any type of earth house, it's going to be in an earth sign, and things get real. And it's the same thing with water, and the same thing with air, and the same thing with fire. Things are going to get very real very quickly. And with the sun being in Taurus on your midheaven, your career is coming first. You're going to see that Capricorn is sitting in the 6th house, adding even more emphasis. So when you see your sun sitting on your midheaven, it's about your persona. It's about your legacy, how people are going to perceive you from afar, how people are going to talk about you when you're not there. What are you going to leave behind that is your name? Your sun is going to be very focused on that, and it's going to take pride in the name that you make for yourself. And this also means that you understand already who you are and how you want to identify. You have a very strong sense of who you are. With Capricorn being in your 6th house, this means that all of this is going to revolve around your work because of the earth sign sitting in the earth houses. You're going to take your work very seriously. It's going to come first in pretty much any scenario. It's going to come before your family. It's going to come before your relationships. It's going to come before your health. You're going to take your career very seriously. You're going to take the name that you make for yourself very seriously, and you're going to take the time to build what you want for yourself. And you're going to take on whatever responsibilities necessary to create the sort of life and the sort of persona that you are comfortable with, where you are in control of what's going on and you are really held responsible for what's going on. Not in a sense that there are people over you. You want to be held responsible, meaning that you built it from the ground up by yourself, for yourself, and it is your baby. This is what you're going to be working on. This is what you are going to be focused on. And your persona and your work and just really the idea of career is really going to be what you self-identify with. And it's also going to be how other people identify you. So there's going to be a little bit more of added pressure for you to be on top of your career. Because even if you do give less emphasis to your career, people are going to take notice of that, and you're going to end up being judged for it. People are going to judge you harshly if you are not focused on your career, because that's what they're ultimately going to be getting from you. You're going to want to find where Saturn is in your chart to really look at what you're getting out of your career. What is your motivation for doing this? Saturn in an earth sign, are you trying to create stability? Saturn in a fire sign, is your career about your self-expression? And so on, and the other elements. But Saturn is really going to show you what exactly you're getting out of it. Why are you working so hard? What do you want out of your career? If the sun is in the 11th house in Gemini, you're going to see that you take a lot of pride in your ability to communicate well and your ability to make friends again, looking at how the sun acted when it was in the 3rd house in Libra. But here, you're actually going to have more of a purpose. Your purpose for why you are so proud of your communication and what your communication can do is actually a little bit higher on the priority list of what you actually pay attention to. You are very influence oriented. You're the type of person that becomes a focal point or a big contributor when it comes to internet relations and going on to social media and being able to communicate with others. You take pride in that fact. You have a lot of fun with that, and you actually like being able to be present and accounted for when it comes to networking and intermedia communications. Now, you look at Aquarius, which is sitting in your 7th house, and you see that you're doing it, you are making these relationships for relationships' sake. You're doing it because you want to bring these relations into your work ethic, and you want to be able to contribute something to the world through other people. You want to be able to navigate how other people are working and what other people are doing, so you can through them create an influence. And your ability to connect these people and connect these situations and bring everything together so it works on its own, and you are just really the puppet master of great things to come. That's what you really like to be able to do. Now, how you approach it, how you're able to pull it off, will really have to do with Uranus. And really, if you're going to do it for good or for bad, will have to do with Uranus and what's driving you to do it. And what is it about the world that's really pissing you off or making you feel like it really needs to change for you to be able to put this effort into being the puppet master? And Saturn, being the co-ruler of Aquarius, is telling you how you pull off being the puppet master in general. What about your work ethic are you going to have to pay the most attention to be able to pull it off in the first place? How are you going to create this change that you want so badly coming from Uranus? And the motivation to create change through others is coming from the fact that Aquarius is ruling your 7th house and you have your sun in Gemini in the 11th. Now, lastly, if you have the sun in Cancer in your 12th house, well, this is showing a life full of deep reflection. You want to be able to understand your influence on the world, and you want to be able to have people understand their influence on you, but you're not really sure how. You take a lot of pride in the fact that you are a caregiver and that you are what holds up other people's emotional stability. But you sometimes feel like you need to hide who you are, or hide your emotions, or just hide away in general to be of any worth to anyone. You feel like your emotions get you into trouble, or that they're just not worth it in the long run in this corporate world. You might start telling yourself that you're emotionally weak. And it's just not a good look. It's not a good deal. You pass up a lot. You become a very passive player in life with this placement. And there's a lot for you to gain from gaining emotional strength. And that's what your sun wants you to do. Now you look at Pisces being in your 8th house, and that's what it is. That's where this emotional strength is going to have to come from. It's going to have to come from you exploring who you are in the inside, and exploring what you do to people and what other people do to you, and understanding that you are a survivor. And taking pride from the fact that you've built this emotional strength, that you've been through some serious trials and tribulations, and that no matter what, you've come out stronger in the end. And really take from those experiences and the memories that you're going to refuse to let go of, with Pisces being in your 8th house and Cancer being in your 12th. And how you can look back at them as motivating factors instead of looking back at them as something to remind you how what your limits are. Then you're going to want to look at what's going on with Neptune to see what it is you need to let go of. Figure out where you've been bounding yourself, where you've put up your own restrictions, and how you're going to achieve breaking them. And with Jupiter as the co-ruler of Pisces, you're really going to see where your strength lies, where exactly you need to build this emotional strength, and why. And Neptune is just going to be there to help you carry it out and keep you emotionally centered and help you understand what it really means to be a part of an emotional world for the better. Neptune is going to expose you to a lot of yourself with this placement here, with the sun being your chart ruler sitting in your 12th house. There's a lot for you to gain from self-exploration. But Jupiter will be giving you a drive to do something about it and to make something better of yourself and of your world because of it. So when you dissolve away those boundaries, when life finally puts you in that place, when the light finally shines on you and it's your moment, you can make the most of it. So hopefully you guys like that. That is the sun through the houses as your chart ruler. This is all on a typical chart. There are going to be plenty of placements with other people where you might have the sun in Sagittarius actually sitting in your 6th house. Things like that happen. If you want a little bit more detail about it, I say look into it. Go on DuckDuckGo, search for it. Find books and other things that you can really pour yourself into and figure out what's going on within your chart. Look at what I've done as really a basic way of how to interpret what's going on with your chart. And if you really feel like you can't get it on your own, contact me. And we can set up something and book a reading with me, and we can figure out what's going on with your chart ruler and what else is going on within your chart all together. So that is that. That is your chart ruler. Hopefully you guys liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter. Like my page on Facebook. All that good stuff. Check out my blog. I'm not keeping up with it, but I will be soon. So check that out. And yeah, thanks for watching, you guys.